Recently on my podcast, I had Ryan Zolin on, who is only 23 years old and has become a millionaire strictly from wholesaling real estate off of the MLS. Now, a lot of you guys who watch this channel or who are in real estate think that there's not any deals in the MLS, but that could not be further from the truth. So if you want to learn how he's finding those deals and what him and I see for the market and the MLS going forward, then watch this clip. So tell me about just like in the last 3 years, like going after this method, like what are some things that you guys do? Like take me from start to finish.
Sure. So while I said like you're not looking for motivation, there are some specific strategies that you've got to target to find motivation on MLS. So there's keywords you could literally filter out. Like there's typically a public remarks and agent only remarks. You want to go in and filter out between both those sections what keywords could be, like motivated, as is, investor, TLC, handyman, fix up, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Next, there's categories like literally pre-foreclosure, probate, anything that will specify a motivating factor as to why the seller would need a cash offer quick. There's also going to be the one that I love right now is days on market. So as the market's transitioning a little bit, we were talking about before the show, but inventory is rising. So all that means is that buyers they have a little bit more of an ability to be pickier. So you have to really focus in on properties where you could get it a little bit steeper. And right now, the most motivating factor is days on market. So anything that's been sitting for 30 plus days, my team's writing an offer on it.
Right. So are they actually writing an offer on every single property, or how does that work?
Yeah, so we call the agents, we build the rapport with them, and then we turn around and we submit the offer ourselves. Or if it's going to be too far of like numbers where we're offering, like typically our benchmark's like $35,000. If it's $35,000 or more under list price, then we'll have them represent us and have them just get the dual agency.
So you're saying if it's 35 grand or more, so it could be 50 grand, you'll have them do dual agent?
Correct. And if they won't, I mean, we'll go unrepresented so the seller nets more money, but the last resort at them would be us representing ourselves. What we were doing in the past is just writing a bunch of offers and submitting it with representing ourselves. But a lot of times what I found is the team wasn't always calling the agents, or we were calling them and they were like, just submit it. Well, all that does is take away the time from the transaction coordinator who's submitting 30 to 40 offers a day. That doesn't make sense. So we started just really honing in on building the relationship with the agents. And then what we found is that even if that wasn't that deal we got, the odds of them turning around and bringing us another one were actually pretty high. So that's how we started building the relationships.
So, I mean, okay, if you're going to do 100 deals this year, how many would you say are like brand new deals you found versus just relationships you've built?
So it's about 60-40. 60% are ones that are brought to us by agents. 40% are deals that we found.
Got it. Okay. So, but you know, to get to that 60%, you had to go find them all initially and get that repeat business.
That's it.
So pretty much most of that 60%, you know, represented you at some point.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
They're like, okay, I'm going to make double commission. This is great.
Yep. And they have us saved as their favorite contact. I mean, the minute they get a listing or they go to an appointment and it's like a distressed house, they'll come and they'll reach out to us. And so then I started teaching them ways to where they can educate the people in their sphere as to how to bring them more opportunities. Do you have cleaners that go out to properties before a listing? Is it distressed and does the property need a lot of work? Does the photographer that goes out and take the listing photos, do they see the property needs a lot of work? Landscapers, pool people, family members, relatives, neighbors, anything along those lines that are just out of the box ideas to get more referrals back in for them, which come back to us.
Right. So, you know, you've been building up these relationships all these years. What, I guess, are the keys to getting deals? Like, okay, you know, I'm a guy who's starting from scratch and I don't have any agent relationships yet. Like, how would you go about with a brand new person?
I think a lot of it is being overly authentic. I don't think there's this sense of like coming in and like lying. I think a lot of like people that teach this come in and say like, you're the investor, you're the buyer, this, or that. You need to have the buying capability. But what I mean by that is you need to go in and just get a relationship with a hard money lender or working with someone like yourself that would say, hey, I'm going to back you in this transaction so you have the confidence going in as a buyer. But aside from that, when you call them, there's nothing wrong with telling them it's your first deal. There's nothing wrong with telling them how your process works. A lot of what we do and what we teach within agent investors is patience and education. Understanding when you're talking to these agents, patience is knowing that they probably aren't familiar with wholesaling and they're also not all that familiar with working with investors and how to make it a win-win. The educating side is understanding that while they don't know that stuff, how do you teach them? We tell all the agents about our wholesaling process. We tell them about what our process looks like from the minute we go under contract to the minute we close and how we do have the ability to wholesale and we might send it out on a list to just see what happens.
Right.
So I think it's overly setting expectations and being authentic.
So you'll say that before submitting the offer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, you know, I guess I'm curious, how many offers on the MLS end up working out? Like how many What's your guys' back out rate?
Yeah,
Everything.
it's a great question. So our goal has always been five a day offers.
Yeah.
Metrics, it's just easy for a guy like myself. I don't think I'm all that smart. 25 a week, 100 a month. Out of that, we were usually getting about like 14 to 16 under contract. When we first started doing this heavily, we were canceling on about like 6 to 7. So I mean, it was like a 50% like cancel rate. Now we're at the point where we're probably closing on about 10 to 12 of them, but we also walk away from earnest money. So if I don't get, like if I'm not able to sell it, I'll walk from my EMD to save the relationship with the agent so that way they'll bring us more opportunities again.
So, I mean, as we transition into this new market, right? A lot of people are calling for a recession and, all this stuff. Like, what are you seeing on your side with the MLS? How's it changed things?
I actually think that this is of course I'm biased, but I think this is the best strategy to go after in the near future. Reason being is that if you could do MLS deals in a market where there was 2,000 to 4,000 active listings in Phoenix, now the only thing that's different is that there's 14,000 active listings as of a couple of days ago. So that means you have bigger opportunity to go and target. The only thing to be mindful of is that buyers are going to be a little bit pickier. So you really have to double down on knowing how to comp properties and knowing like how to underwrite them the proper way. So obviously backing up to main roads, 2-story versus 1-story, make sure your square footage is right, year built, anything along those lines, pool or no pool in Arizona. As long as you have like those things understood and like how to like go in and find the right deals. I mean, I would tell you right now, MLS is the way to be. Like it's free marketing. I don't even think there's high risk with it. There's low risk, high reward. And I think if you were given that opportunity with anything in business, the alternative is that you're told, okay, well, now you've got to figure out in this market transitioning, do I pull back and take my foot off the gas on marketing while it's like pivoting, or do I go even crazier and full throttle down and let's go and double down on marketing? Right. And I have friends in Arizona that are doing both. Like I have friends that are taking their foot off the gas, not flipping as much anymore. And I have friends that are like, nope, let's go. Let's keep it going. 18 to 20 flips at a time. So I'd rather be the guy that's in the middle ground that's like, I can appeal to everybody.
Right.
Buyer over here, what are you looking for? Buyer that's being a little bit more safe, what are you looking for?
Mm-hmm.
Now I could just go find those opportunities and send it to them.
Yeah. I think right now we get about 40 to 50 flips going on. So we got a lot of deals. But it's interesting because, I saw this play out 2 years ago with COVID. Everybody had a choice to make on what they wanted to do. And, most people played scared. Yep. And obviously it turns out that it was the best time to buy, right? And so as I look at where things are at today, I kind of see deja vu of, inventory's rising, people are getting really scared again, and a lot of people are not wanting to do anything. But this time around, I would say there are less people than before that are like I think there's still a lot of buyers compared to COVID when there was like none.
Right.
So, I'm looking at it as an investor and just kind of deciding what's best for me at this point in my life. And I think we're in a mix right now where I am trying to kind of not buy as much. I want to wholesale, but I'm not ramping down my marketing. I'm just kind of shifting like, okay, you know what? Like let's wholesale more just in case. And I had already planned to wholesale more anyway because I wanted to do more deals, but I don't want to do more flips.
Right. That's exactly where we're at. We have 2 big flips right now that we're working on selling. So one's a $2 million deal and then one's a $1 million deal. And what we've realized is that we're just a little over leveraged being in the luxury game. So we're trying to pull back on that and just focus more on the wholesale side and then do more wholesale fix and flips.
So, I mean, what's the plan going forward? Like, with the MLS, to me anyways, I've known a lot of guys who have done it for years. And, that's how I got started. I would find deals off the MLS and, I was very successful on the MLS for a long time using very similar strategies to what you're saying. And then we had a period of a couple of years where we weren't very good at the MLS. Like I was not doing it. Our MLS guy wasn't very good. And then, this year we've been doing really good again. Ray, who I mentioned earlier, who's been through Agent Investor, he's getting 4 or 5 deals a month, by himself. And so, we're back to doing really good off the MLS. And so it just shows like it's always been there. Like everyone can always do good on the MLS. My guys, the Boakley brothers, they've been on this show a couple of times and they crush it off the MLS. Like that's all they do. Like I meet a lot of investors who spend no marketing dollars and just do great on the MLS.
For sure. Yeah. I think that's going to be my primary focus. I mean, it's obviously the staple of our entire business and what we preach and teach everybody else. But I think that the opportunity is just always there. I think opportunity is wherever you want it to be. And I think that the minute you start looking for it and you start like actually like manifesting it, you attract it. And so with the deals, you have to wake up with the mentality that people need your help. People want your offers. Agents want to work with you. Even if it's not this deal, it's the next deal. And then it just goes back to the authenticity and making sure you create win-win situations for yourself and the agent. Aside from that, I mean, I'm here to stay in the MLS game. I think that's where the future is going to be. And I'm trying to get even louder and just take this message nationwide. I want everyone in the entire country that's an agent to be implementing this and adding this tool to the tool belt.
Yeah. Thanks for watching that clip from the Ryan Pineda Show. If you want to see the full interview, you can actually find it in the link below. Make sure you also subscribed on both YouTube and Apple Podcast.